Peace and all good from Franciscan Media. I'm Father Jim Sabak, and this is the Inbreaking of the Word. So today we have come to the third Sunday of the Easter season. It's the 15th day of our Easter celebrations, 15 out of 50. So there is still 35 more days of Easter to go to. The interesting thing about this Sunday, though, is that it is the last time we have an occasion for an appearance, a resurrection appearance of Jesus. The Sundays that will follow, the fourth Sunday and following, basically now move us into trying to understand the impact of the resurrection, the impact of what this Easter season means for us. In the same way that we move immediately from the crib and the manger at Christmas with shepherds and donkeys and cows and sheep and all those other kinds of things that are so wonderful and have such, beautiful staying power in our imaginations, we move at Christmas time from that immediately to an adult Jesus who is beginning his work of ministry, again, to see how the incarnation now leads to that. Well, so too now. It's again, we lingered at the tomb, we lingered at appearances, we wanted Jesus to keep appearing and appearing and appearing, but he has to go back to heaven and we've got to get work done. And the reason that we are able to get the work done is because now we begin to integrate what it means for Christ to rise and how that changes human history, how that changes the course of everything. And again, is our centerpiece. Not penance, not confessing our sins all the time, not making God like us, not saying we're sorry, we're sorry, we're sorry, we're sorry. God doesn't need us just to say we're sorry. God needs us to get doing the work that God needs us to do. And the only way that we can do that work is he becomes off that cross and he becomes a part of our life. And that's what happens. And this last time we get an appearance, and it's an important appearance, but from that point on, it is now us in the world and us unpacking and integrating more what this resurrection, what this Easter season means for us. And so back to this third Sunday of Easter, again, our three readings, Acts of the Apostles, which carries us all through the Easter season. The apostles brought into the Sanhedrin because they are preaching about Jesus and stirring all of Jerusalem up. Is that true? Is that not? Exaggeration, sometimes a little bit, but something is going on that is bothering Jewish leadership and Jewish authority. And so they tell them, don't do this. And they also then say, don't do this because people are beginning to blame us and we don't like that. Well, they kind of did get in the way of all of this. So what did they expect? But again, this is where the power of these apostles, from what happens to them at Pentecost or what they begin to realize about themselves and our mission, basically now is taking root and it's becoming very powerful. And so the Sanhedrin wanted it stopped. And this is where Peter kind of just sticks it to them just a little bit more, by talking about how this Jesus whom you crucified, placing the blame upon the scribes and the Pharisees, which is a both and. It was also Rome that had a role in this and everything else like that. But it's the leadership that did not want Jesus around. But saying that basically God raised this Jesus, exalted him on high, and now he is the source of belief. And we cannot stop proclaiming this because this is the truth. This is what God has done. And we believe this. And even if you don't, you're not going to stop it from happening. You're not going to stop it from continuing. And so it is this whole understanding where many things throughout history, continuing throughout history, try to stand in the way of this proclamation. And yet nothing stops it from being proclaimed. That Christ is risen, that life is changed forever. Humanity is placed onto new courses. Sin, darkness, and death do not like, but they have no power to stop it because it is Christ and it is God saying the final word. In the book of Revelation, that carries us also through this Easter season, we have this great acclamation. Worthy is the Lamb who was slain to receive honor and riches and glory. It's part of, I believe, Thursday evening prayer, when we do Liturgy of the Hours, this part of Thursday evening prayer is Canticle, this great hymn that Ralph Vaughan Williams turned into a great hymn that we continue to sing today about all glory being to God. This is what God has done in Jesus, what God has done in Christ. Again, is to exalt him, is to say that this is the one who we have waited for. This is the one who gives hope to our lives. This is the one who gives meaning to our lives. All the creatures in heaven, bow down and worship. All the elders bow down and worship. And John has this wonderful, vision of all of this happening because this is what happens in heaven, again, day and night, it seems, or again and again and again, and you can't get enough of it. So that's what awaits us. We'll wait to see what it's like. But again, it's the greatest thing in the whole world that John sees. It gives more credibility to what Acts is trying to say, and Peter is trying to say in Acts of the Apostles, that this God, this Jesus who has been glorified by God, is the one to whom all glory and honor belong. Then we have this last appearance that we will have this year of Jesus' resurrection. And it's an interesting kind of story because, again, it's also a story that has a number of episodes within it, And so the apostles are on this shore of the Sea of Galilee, or it seems, and they're just kind of hanging out. Now, right then and there, that's something ridiculous because why would you be doing that after you've recognized the fact that this man who was your friend, who you saw die, has risen and he has appeared to you? He's popped in and popped out. He's shown up and then disappeared. It's like Thomas, has touched him, and everyone is happy that he's arisen, but you've kind of gone back to life as usual. How could you do that? And so basically just hanging out, and then Peter says, I'm going to go fishing. Really? A man has come back from the dead and is appearing all over the place, and you say, let's go fishing? And the apostles say, we'll go with you. No one seems to be recognizing what's happening. So that's the first thing that's got to stand out, that there is this total inability to sort of realize the power of what's going on, even though they have experienced it. Well, they catch nothing. Of course they won't. And somebody on the shore basically says, throw the nets over to the right side of the boat. And they do so, collect all kinds of fish, and it is then that they recognize it's Christ. It is Jesus, risen and coming back to see them again. They recognize it because of the interaction that they have with this Christ, the interaction they have with Jesus, his speaking to them, his telling them what to do, and having it get done. And Peter, who seems to be scantily clad, he gets dressed and runs over to meet him, and Jesus prepares breakfast and gives them bread and fish. Not bread and wine, but bread and fish, but using words that seem to be analogous to the words that can be used at the Last Supper. This is where, was fish ever a part of the early Christian Eucharist? It's not clear. It's not clear. But there's something about that. And again, fishing becoming a symbol, many times over in early Christian iconography about what it means, to be Christ, or what it means to be Christian. So Jesus supplying needs and stuff like that, it's all very good. But the big thing about it is then what happens after the breakfast, where Jesus basically asks Peter 3 times, do you love me? And Peter answers yes, yes, and yes. But that third time, getting just a little bit ticked, because why is Jesus constantly asking this? He is basically wiping away your threefold denial and doing it without you having to do contrition, without you having to do any kind of making up for this tremendous offense or whatever it was. Again, you talk about eating an apple, causing original sin, whatever it is, and all of us laboring under this and being burdened by this. And now you have a denial of your friend, of the Christ, and how it's resolved is basically love. And Peter's threefold answering of love, leads into tend my sheep, feed my lambs, this whole idea of taking care. What is that? It is Peter's affirmation of faith, as John understands it. Again, too many times we go back to the synoptics, where Jesus asks the question, who do people say that I am? And Peter's the one who stands up and says, you are the Christ, the Son of God. And it's like, oh, of course, that makes him the first pope. And then Matthew really makes it something by saying, the sins that you have, that people bring to you, if you forgive them, they're forgiven. If you don't, they're held. And I'm going to make you the rock and build a church upon you, and whatever it is that is only in Matthew's gospel. But all that deals with authority and power and authority and power. In John's gospel, the confession of faith is about love. Nothing more, nothing less. The power of love. What love can do. How love can heal so easily. Something egregious as denying the Son of God and leading to his death is reconciled not because of burdens of pain and penances and whatever it is, but just affirming again love. And allowing that love to be realized. Allowing that love to be lived. That is the wonderful thing about the Easter season, which we miss and we still have yet to truly understand. It is love, not authority, not power, not penances, not all these other things that we ourselves have set up. Jesus asks us only to love and to remember how powerful loving is, and to let us always let that commandment of love rest in our hearts and shape our minds and our future together. That is what this gospel, this last resurrection appearance leaves us with. The ability to love and the power of love to make all things new. Continued blessed Easter season from Franciscan Media, and may the Lord give you his peace.